Today we have the pleasure of speaking to two South Australian young leaders, Ben Tripodi, who is the co-founder and CEO of Lumin Sports, and Ellie Moulton, who's the business owner of Plus One Dress Hire. Today, both Ben and Ellie will speak to us about their career journey, the challenges they've faced, and operating in the South Australian landscape.
Ben and Ellie, could you share a little bit about your personal story and your business and what its purpose is and what you do today?
Yeah. Lumin Sports is my business. We sell software to sporting teams. We really kind of work four main areas. So performance analytics, rehab and medical, team operations and strength and conditioning. And so, yeah, we've been around for about 10 years now, headquartered in Adelaide, have been here the whole time, but have some presence in the US as well. So we sell globally 500 teams from Formula One down to kind of under 12 soccer team. So it's a fast growing business. But yeah, it's been a bit of a journey so far.
I'm Ellie. I am the owner of Plus One Dress Hire. We are a dress hire business which started, I guess, when I myself was pregnant with my son, found a little gap in the market, for catering for women that were going through changes in their body. It caught on pretty quickly, which was really nice to see. And we were quickly covering dress hire across Australia, which was awesome. Since then, we have become a lot more inclusive of size range. We definitely don't just target pregnant women anymore. We cater from size 6 to 20, which is quite an extensive range of sizing, which is fantastic. And we're always, working on extending that even further. And we still send dresses all around Australia.
So Ben, what led and inspired you to create your business? So was there a defining moment, an experience or a personal, value that sparked the idea behind it?
Yeah, I don't think there was any kind of one thing. I was probably always involved. I always enjoyed business and investing from a young age. And so for me, it was always doing that. I was always looking for opportunities to create something on my own. And so at the time I was a triathlete and I was trying to become professional and that was very much my journey and what I was focusing on. At the same time I was at uni and I was playing around with all these different other business ideas and trying different things to see if it worked. And there was always kind of a crossover between some sort of sports or creating companies that hopefully help me be better at my sport. At the same time, so I was dabbling in a bunch of things, had a couple of businesses that kind of failed and it didn't quite work out. And then, I started working for kind of a creative agency and I got a bit more involved in kind of understanding software a little bit more. Left that. And then the Tour Down Under was on every year in Adelaide. And for me, that's always an event I was always enjoyed. And I had a lot of friends who raced and had a lot of professional friends. Anyway, I started just kind of reaching out to the bunch of professional teams and got to know a few of them. At the same time, I was still a decent athlete, so I was able to ride with a lot of them. And I got invited along to a bike ride with the team owner of Team Dimension Data, who I'd kind of reached out to through a cold email. And he was the only one that I reached out to every single pro team owner, and he was the only one that got back to me. And so he invited me out for a bike ride. We went riding for like 6 hours up in the hills and I just started pitching him a bunch of different ideas, mainly around software and how to help their athletes get better. And I had a business partner at the time as well, who's our CTO, Ryan. We weren't in business at the time then, but we always knew that we were going to go and do something together. And we got to the end of the bike ride, we're having a coffee, and he just said, "All right, let's try it." And then so his major sponsor, Dimension Data, kind of backed us for a project for a couple of years with the team, and we essentially worked with that team for a while. Create a whole bunch of kind of different tech, but it was all very similar to the kind of very seed of what we're doing now. And then, we both worked for Dimension Data and Team Dimension Data for a couple of years and as a consultants. And then we thought, no, we can definitely do this for other sports, not just cycling. And they backed us and we started Lumin. And so it was a combination of lots of different things popped up, but I was definitely hustling and trying to make something happen. And it was always that crossover of sport and business was always going to kind of, I think, create something that I'll jump into. But if it wasn't for the Tour Down Under and the opportunity to kind of to go riding with them and whatnot, I don't think we would have Lumin here today.
Looking ahead, Ellie, what do you envision the future of your business looking like and the industry as a whole? And what sort of change, innovation, opportunity do you think is occurring in this space?
Yeah, good question, because I feel like this is an industry where everybody starts to catch on and sort of pivot to be more inclusive. Like I definitely think when we started Plus One, we were the only company in Australia that catered for pregnant women. And I'm not going to know this full statistic, but we were definitely one of the only that carried above a size 12. So obviously that's just within the last 4 years. So I now look at across all dress hire companies and everyone has become far more inclusive. Obviously they've seen what works and are able to cater for a larger audience, which is, you know, obviously what you're going to do in business. So for our business, we've always just had to kind of think what's next. So we have previously included other higher add-ons, I guess. So we brought out like a luxury bag element to our hire. So you get dressed, you can get your bag. We've got some less expensive options. We've got, sort of trying to cater to complete an entire outfit or look. And now even in our store in Adelaide, we now have a hairdresser and makeup artist on board. So you can essentially come and get completely ready for an event in the one space. So I think we're always thinking, what can we do that others aren't doing yet? How can we enhance somebody's experience coming into the store? And I think moving forward, it's always about being a little bit ahead of everyone else in that space. How can we do things more efficiently? Interestingly, we've looked into working with somebody to be able to really strip back and look at our data, and see what's coming through for online, and how can we help people with their online orders even more so than we are already. So can we take, dimensions, measurements, so forth, and then give them the exact dresses that will fit their body shape. So we're looking into all of that stuff, taking sort of the guessing game out of it a little bit and trying to think, okay, why would people pick us over another dress hire company? What can we do better to enhance our customers' experience?
I think it's you've caught me on a hard week where AI is just absolutely going gangbuster, where you question whether a software company is even going to be relevant in kind of a year's time. So I think for us, in terms of sports tech, it is booming at the moment, and that market is just growing dramatically. And we've been in it for a while, and the amount of consolidation amongst the big companies is very big at the moment. And so we're kind of a small fry in a big pond at the moment, but we have a pretty big presence globally. And so that's one aspect of the industry, is like it's going crazy. And I think that's driven by a lot of youth academies and a lot of parents are spending a lot of money on their athletes to become very good. And so naturally the technology trickles down from that, from what the pros are using, hence why the amateur market for us is booming, and the private market is pretty big for us. But then on the flip side, you got AI, and so there is always this challenge and this need to adapt and to innovate and to try to stay ahead of it, but also not to try to jump on everything that comes around. And so that's probably been the biggest challenge of late, is understanding where can we be disrupted and where can we be improved and our productivity increased. And definitely at the moment, we're seeing huge benefits on the AI front for our developer tools. Like it is crazy. And we've been forward thinking and tried to implement a lot of that. And that's been great. Yes, you can have a smaller team and you can actually produce a lot. And so for a small team like us, we can kind of compete with some of the big dogs just because of the ability to use some of those tools. So huge advantage on that side, but then also, okay, it's going to get to a point where potentially our customers don't need us and they can go do this on their own. There's obviously plenty of challenges with that, and that's not going to happen straight away, but that's the kind of natural evolution of AI. And you got to find some new things that you have to offer, and how can we be different from our competitors, and how can we continue providing a service just beyond the technology. And so plenty of challenges. It's moving so fast that you always kind of constantly trying to understand the market. But I feel like one aspect, sports tech is booming, and the other aspect, you got these kind of huge tech threats.
Ben and Ellie, both a question for you, and we'll start with yourself, Ben. So what's the most valuable piece of guidance or advice you've received along your business journey, and how has that been relevant to the success of your business?
Yeah, I don't think there's any one particular piece of advice I've received, but there's probably some themes that, looking back, were definitely impactful in kind of some of the success we're having now. Um, and these were maybe some mentors of mine kind of always push this on me as well. But I think some elements of it I just found on my own. But definitely, constant activity. And so I think in the early days, even when I was looking for opportunities, I was constantly putting myself in the way of opportunities to come find me away, in a sense. And so that also meant travel and getting to know people as much as we can. And so the constant activity meant, just hustling, cold emails, phone calls, but also not being afraid to just travel places and trying to set up meetings and meet people in person. I think, constantly trying to meet as many people as you can. Even when you don't, it got easier when you have obviously an idea or something to spruik, but even in the early days, you just meet as many people as you can and reaching out and constant activity will always breed opportunities. And so I think there was a few people in my life that kind of told me that as well, but then I probably found that kind of on my own as well. And it's been probably the number one thing that's kind of got me here today.
I have to agree with that, like 100%. I think building relationships, connections, especially the early days of a business, like falling into a business like this. I mean, Plus One started from my house. I had pregnant women waddling to the door to pick up a dress. At the time, I was still in fitness, so I had my studio. I was usually personal training someone and trying to do both of it all at once. And I remember just thinking, this is a time I just have to really build relationships outside of the fitness industry that I've been in for 11 years, because I don't know where this is going to go. And I look now and I think we've got where we are, and with national exposure from really same thing, like just sliding into DMs of people and can we do this, can we do that, can we partner, and really establishing some strong connections in Adelaide in the right industries, but also nationally as well. Definitely, building connections. But I think as well, something that I reflect on is just trying to have an understanding in all aspects of the business. I think that's something that I know now I'm really trying to be better at. I think when a business grows so quickly, I just wanted to be in sales. I just wanted to be talking to the people. That's what I like doing. And it wasn't until I lost a few staff members and things like that I realized I didn't even know how to run the website, or I didn't know the back end of anything. And I think that was a point for me personally in business that I was like, okay, you actually need to have some idea of what's going on in the social media space, in the website tech space, behind the scenes, all of it, even to like laundering the dresses, where they go, who we use for what. So I definitely think that would be something that I would now look back and think, hey, that could have been applied a little bit earlier, but now I will definitely take that advice and run with it moving forward.
Being a South Australian-based businesses obviously has its opportunities and its challenges. I guess from that perspective, being based here and doing things on a national and international level, what do you see as the pros and cons of that? And how do you find tapping into, I guess, the broader community of, younger people running businesses in SA?
Yeah, I think we're a global business first and foremost. So it doesn't really matter where we are as such. It's we're not selling we have customers here, but it's not our market. So for us, we probably see it from a little bit differently to maybe some others, but we see it as like, where can you create a good environment to get hopefully good talent to be based, and so we always found Adelaide was a great place to live. We love living here, and it's an easy place to get into the city, and so you're able to have like a headquarters here where people can come and go. It's not like you're in Sydney where people are traveling an hour to get in. And so we very much value in person. We very much value the office culture, and we feel like Adelaide's the best place to be able to do that. It's also, we have a major airport here, and so it's very easy to travel anywhere in the world. And now that San Fran flight, it's even easier for our business. And so we've never felt restricted from being able to do our global reach, and it was very much a place to live. I would say, though, the biggest challenge is access to capital, because we compete on a global market, but you don't get access to global capital. And that's the hard thing is you're expected to compete with global companies, but where you're based is where you essentially access capital from. And so that's has been a huge issue, and it's an issue in Australia as well. But we make it work, and I think any business is hard, and so you have your pros and cons, and it's not like I've spent a lot of time in the US, and San Francisco is an amazing place, but there's also heaps more competitors there. So there's heaps more capital, but you're also competing with other people, and so pros and cons. Whereas you can be kind of a big fish here and get access to all the capital that's available, even though the pool's really small. And so, there's pros and cons to everything, but we've definitely chosen this as going to be our global headquarters moving forward, and it's very much about a place to live and whatnot. But yeah, there's definitely some challenges, but I think everywhere there's challenges.
Yeah, for Plus One, we really monopolise on SA. I think we have looked at, do we pivot and move the whole business online? We've looked at all of those opportunities, and always come back to the same thing. Adelaide is our base, Adelaide and our customers. I think that kind of experience of being able to come into a store, try on what you're wearing, take it home, people love that opportunity. So while it's still really important for us to, do what we can for our interstate market, for me, it is really fundamentally about Adelaide and our South Australian support, and really thinking how we can, enhance their experience with Plus One. So I think I love being a South Australian business predominantly. I'm grateful that we have opportunity elsewhere, but I don't like to get too overly confident. I know that this is my bread and butter. I know that this is where I have to succeed, and the rest sort of just is an extra bonus. And I think being in South Australia and being in business in South Australia, I feel like I have a lot more confidence in the space. I think growing up in a space like Adelaide, you do build connections. Like we were saying before, you do build connections from quite a young age. And even though sometimes we hate to admit it, it does kind of help you later in life when you are getting out there with a new business venture. You kind of feel like you've got the upper hand from the get-go. And I don't take that for granted. I think, there were times where I was like, do I do this in Sydney? There's more people, whatever. But I was like, no, I think stick to what you know. There's still a lot of space in Adelaide for successful businesses. And then to use it as a stepping stone, I guess, to build nationally.
What inspired you, or how did you name your business, what you've named, both of you?
Yeah, ours was super random. We have no attachment to our name when we first created it. It was so there's a company called Pickstar, another Adelaide-based global sports company, and we were sharing their office, and we kind of had a lot to do with them early days, and we were trying to name our company, and they were Pickstar, like a star. And then we're like, oh, can we relate it to a star? And then it was like lumens is light, how you measure light. And then it became Lumin. And so there's honestly nothing to it other than we did it in 2 hours. We just had a meeting. We're like, all right, let's just brainstorm, and it stayed with us ever since. So there's nothing fancy or anything. There's no undertone of meaning other than that.
So Plus One, I guess a little bit of a double meaning. I was pregnant at the time that Plus One became a business, I guess. And yeah, so essentially I think the Plus One, I was carrying Plus One. We were catering for women in pregnancy, Plus One. But then as the business evolved, I decided it's still a strong name because it kind of tapped into a Plus One to an event. So you've got a Plus One, come and get changed, sort of get dressed with Plus One.
So again, a question for you both, Ben and Ellie, and Ellie, we'll start with you. So what do you have planned for the year ahead? Do you have any exciting projects, any exciting goals on the horizon?
I do. Good question. You've definitely caught me at a good time. Well, I feel like with Plus One, we've definitely got to a place where I'm really happy and content with where it is right now. I think we're exploring ways of it growing, but at the moment, I'm also family dynamics for me personally have changed, and I feel like the success of Plus One did come because I had been living it, going through it, experiencing it myself, having my first son. So I definitely relate the success to that business because it was something that was really relevant to me at the time. And I guess I've just had another baby, and I've kind of been presented with another whole range of, challenges, and have found, I guess, another little kind of gap, I think, that I'm targeting and sort of moving forward with in business this year. So I'm in the process of opening a fitness studio. So I'm going back to my roots, but really targeting at women and mums, and in particular working mums. Personally, I think having a business, having a baby, having a partner who is opening a restaurant, so there's just lots going on in our house. And I've really missed sort of the opportunity to get to a gym, or I can go to the gym, but the crash times and things like that are a little bit restricted. So yes, in April, I'm opening a fitness studio called Embody, and it will be one-on-one personal training, but with a full-time nanny in the space and full child facilities. So we've got an activity room, a kitchen, like feeding room, and a sleep room adjacent to the gym. And I'm just hoping it will provide more opportunity for mums, working mums. You don't have to have children to come to the space, but Rocky will be a resident little baby in the gym, so she'll be there full time. But yeah, I just feel like for me personally, business success comes when it's addressing a problem that I'm experiencing. And I think I'm hoping that will be the same with this business too.
Oh, we probably spent last year. I lived in the US for a little bit with my family, and so this year it's kind of probably a little bit more boring, just getting back to work. To be honest, last year was chaos. We have a pretty clear strategy for the next 5 years, and we kind of finished that up last year. So it's just kind of chipping away at that and making sure we're on track. But we are hiring a considerable amount of people over the next 2 years, and so that's probably a big one. Potentially moving offices, getting a new space, investing in our culture a little bit more. And we've kind of last 10 years has been about finding product market fit, starting to grow, being early in new markets, and now we're a little bit more mature, and we're now in that scale phase. So it's about creating kind of the culture and mindset and helping creating the team to make sure we can actually achieve the strategy.
Thank you to Ben and Ellie for speaking with us today. If you would like to hear more about our podcasts, please visit our website at elevatenc.com.au, or you can check us out on Spotify or our YouTube account.